literally the entire Gulf of Mexico is open right now. But the Gulf of Mexico in November is not the Gulf of Mexico in August or September. Conditions are not as hospitable for intensification, and in fact really should lead to weakening or rapid weakening of the storm. Now, where it is in the Caribbean is conducive for intensification. Right now, kind of struggling. Thunderstorms not exactly wrapping around the center, but it is getting better organized, which is why as of the 3 o'clock advisory, it became Tropical Storm Rafael, winds of 45 miles an hour. Now, the anticipation is that it would become a hurricane, so don't be surprised by that, possibly sometime tomorrow. And then as it continues on Wednesday, moving toward western Cuba. Now, not a lot of land interaction will really impart much weakening on the storm, as the western part of Cuba is fairly flat. Where it will start to encounter a more hostile environment is in the central and northern Gulf of Mexico. That is why, even long before reaching land, the Hurricane Center expects that it will be weakening and likely dissipating long before reaching land. Maybe kind of a remnant low or possibly a depression, depending upon which model you look at. So here's what we're dealing with right now, and why I don't really want to show the spaghetti plots, because they're kind of useless. That's just showing you a center point of the storm. I need you to see what the structure of the storm is going to look like. And the models are in pretty good agreement, at least in the short term. Moving toward Cuba, strengthening. This is the GFS overlaid with the official track from the Hurricane Center. Now, once into the Gulf, this is where the models start to diverge a bit. The GFS kind of indicating that more toward the central Gulf Coast, northern or central Gulf Coast. The Euro, on the other hand, kind of indicates a little bit more south of that track. And so the track is basically splitting the difference between the GFS and the Euro. Here's the Euro. Euro thinks it's going to move into the Gulf and then just move due west more toward Texas or Mexico. And here's why. We're going to be watching this big upper level high. The GFS thinks the upper high is going to be a little bit more to the east, allowing the storm to move more along the western periphery of that high. The Euro, on the other hand, thinks that high is going to be built more into the Gulf, which would keep the storm just moving to the east. Either way, the models are in good agreement that it's picking up on water temperatures in the Gulf, not very suitable for an intensifying storm. Where it is now, it certainly is deep warm water, shallow warm water, and then cooler temperatures. Now, be a little bit better if these temperatures were more in the low 70s or even 60s, but lower 70s is just fine. Water temperatures working against it, intensifying, and it will be encountering some very strong wind shear as it tries to move into the central and northern Gulf Coast, as well as around the same time very dry air also being thrown in the mix. As we get later into the forecast period, after Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it will be encountering hostile conditions. That is why we're expecting the storm to weaken and possibly weaken rapidly before it makes landfall. We've had a few showers on radar thus far today, a few spotty elsewhere, some more substantial rains moving up toward Kentwood and then winding down. Today's high still way too warm, 85 degrees, and that was under mostly cloudy skies with some scattered showers. Mostly cloudy at the moment, 78 degrees. Wind still breezy out of the east-southeast at 16 miles an hour. 70s to low 80s on the map right now. High humidity, can't get rid of that seemingly. And with these stronger winds likely to stay up through the overnight hours, we do have some coastal flooding concerns. This is not associated with Rafael. This is totally unrelated. And a coastal flood warning, though, for parts of Hancock, St. Tammany, and Orleans Parish until tomorrow morning. After high tide, we'll start to see the water levels coming down and expecting the winds to diminish as well. Very active front that is off to our west. As it approaches tomorrow, it could increase our rain chances, kind of like we saw last week, although this one doesn't look to be nearly as aggressive, and the model is really not playing up our rain chances for tomorrow. I'll go with about a 40% shot during the day tomorrow, election day, so if you're going to be waiting on any of the polling lines, maybe just have an umbrella handy in case with that 40-50% chance. We're drier as we head into Wednesday, Thursday. Kind of a question mark Friday and Saturday with regards to the tropics. I'll keep the rain chances fairly low right now, and maybe a weak front trying to move in early next week.